That's one of the things that I, as a researcher, and our whole team have learned is one of the most powerful ways that Partnering for Change affects change in the school system is you leave behind lasting change when you've worked with an educator and collaborated. And in order to change what students are able to do, to change their behavior, their knowledge, their capacity, you will never do that if you've only worked 30 minutes outside of a classroom with a child for a few sessions. You need to make sure that the classroom that they spend time in every single day, that educator is able to teach differently, present the curriculum differently, use tools differently. But we can't just ask educators and show up and say, we want you to do all this differently. We have to be partners with them. They have to know you're going to come back, that you're going to be there if they run into difficulty. You're going to be able to troubleshoot. You have to be there consistently and regularly. Because otherwise it's going to feel like you've just dropped in and left a whole bunch of things, and then the other person is entirely responsible for their implementation and success. And what we hear from both therapists and from educators is that it's the little contacts in between. So we work together, you gave me something. A few weeks later, you can come back and say, how did that go? And the educator can say, you know what, this worked, but I ran into trouble here. Okay, let's try something else. And what therapists who we've interviewed have told us is that it isn't a big shift. It's not like you come in and do Partnering for Change and all of a sudden everything is different. They describe it as it's little wins, little changes. But if you then compare where you started in September and where you landed in June at the end of the school year, you realize it has now become a very different classroom environment, but everything was incremental. And so in order to make that incremental change over time, you need to be going back. You need to be consistent. And the other thing is, for people to make change, they have to trust you. And trust is built by being there and someone you can be counted upon to actually truly have shared responsibility for supporting students. And we also find that by being a consistent and regular presence in the school, the occupational therapist really truly gets to know that school community. They get to know the students. The students know who they are. They know the therapist by name. The teachers recognize the therapist. Excuse me, they know that the therapist comes a certain time. I can find you. I can ask you questions. The therapist learns what the students' needs are, what the school culture is, what the school's needs are. And they're able to tailor what they do in much more impactful ways than if they were only flying in and out and there for, maybe 4 visits in the school year. So there are a number of different ingredients that make Partnering for Change a much more impactful model.